Just one day after the president warned special counsel Robert Mueller not to investigate his finances in an interview with the New York Times, Mueller reportedly is doing just that and having his deputies spread the word that he's doing just that. Bloomberg reported this morning that Mueller is not just looking at links between Russia and Trump's presidential campaign, he's also investigating Trump's personal business dealings that may involve Russia, even tangentially. Those would include the 2013 Miss Universe pageant in Moscow. Meanwhile, about an hour ago, the Wall Street Journal reported that Mueller is also investigating former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort for possible money laundering. Charles Krauthammer is an author and columnist, and he joins us tonight. There's a lot here, but first to the timing of this. So the president says, I think unwisely, to the New York Times, Mueller can't go there with my personal finances, my family's business. The very next day, somebody from the Mueller camp leaks this. What do you think of that?
Look, I think the problem here at root is the whole idea of the special counsel,
right,
special prosecutor. Their mandates are essentially unlimited. Their resources are unlimited, and politically they're unfireable. Legally, yes, but we know what happened with Nixon when he tried to fire a special prosecutor, and I think the same would happen to Trump. He'd be engulfed if he tried to. And why does this happen? Because what it does, the reason it's wrong, is it creates an organization with unlimited resources and mandate to go on a fishing expedition. We know what happened with Clinton. It started out as a bad real estate deal and ended up with sex in the Oval Office. Not exactly two related topics.
No, it's not a linear progression.
No, it was a rather zigzag progression from one to the other. Look, I think if the mandate, let's assume, it's a given that we're having a special prosecutor, okay? He's
right
there. The mandate is to look for the collusion, any cooperation. I think it is reasonable within the scope of that charge to look to follow the money, to see if there were financial dealings with Russia that might account for some of the collusion if they find collusion. What Trump seemed to say in the interview is he kind of accepted the logic of that. He wouldn't protest that. He seemed to say, if you go beyond Russia transactions, then you're on a fishing expedition, then you cross the red line. So even Trump seems to be saying that as long as these are Russian transactions, which I assume are fairly limited, Trump himself mentioned the sale of condos, for example, to Russian nationals, which on its face is completely innocent. So that seems to be where the dividing line is.
I think that's a big line, though. I mean, I'm confident until it's shown otherwise that Russia did not get Donald Trump elected. I don't think there's evidence of that. Right. Anytime you have any kind of financial transaction in Russia, whether it's buying dinner or selling a condo or having a Miss Universe pageant, I mean, who knows what's there? It's Russia.
And that's why I think looking at the finances is important. It's not a market economy like ours.
Exactly.
It's not one where you have public companies that have to make declarations on the stock market. This is a mafia regime run by thugs, ex-KGB thugs, and they launder money, they do deals, they steal. It's not to say that Trump had anything at all to do with any of that, but because those are the circumstances under which business is transacted in Russia, then you can link it logically. So again, if you accept the premise that we should have a special prosecutor, and you accept the scope to go after possible collusion, it makes sense to go after the financial dealings. But you shouldn't be in a fishing expedition to go after stuff he did with other countries, other places.
It sounds like that's where we are, and I think it could be really problematic, but what do I know? Charles, thank you for that.
My pleasure.